Hey friends, welcome to the People Priority Podcast, where we dig into topics that help you show up as your best self for you and your circle of influence. I'm your host, Julie Schneers, a teacher turned speaker, team culture consultant, and leadership growth coach who loves people. Join me here every week for conversations that will motivate, educate, and hopefully just inspire you to grow through the power of communication, connection, and confidence. Because you and your people, you're worth it. We've talked a lot about goals and not letting perfectionism stand in the way if you've listened to the episodes prior to this one. But today I want to take it to the next level. And I want to talk about going after your goals, even when you feel like you're not ready. And of course, this resonates with me. I actually visited with someone near and dear to my heart just the other day, and she said, "You've got to stop talking to me in your podcast." I'm like, well, I'm talking to me. So one, you're not alone. And two, I hope that it's inspirational enough that it does feel like it's talking to you. So when we're talking about going after your goals, which it's, the time of year, which whenever you're listening to this, it may not be January, but we're recording this in January. So you're goal setting for 2024. You are thinking through what you want in your business, what you want for your family, what you want for yourself. What are personal goals that you have? And of course, that makes me think through every goal that kind of held me back. Every time that I have thought this is going to be a really great, big, bold goal and didn't accomplish it, didn't fight for it, and re-goaled it the next year. When I was teaching, I was very much a part of the idea that baptism by fire was the best way to learn. You really can't teach some of the opportunities that experience can give. Sometimes you just have to do it. You just have to, even if you don't feel like you're 100% ready, you got to take that step. And as a coach, this commonly came out in students who felt like if they could just do a little more research, if they could just practice a couple more times, then they'd be ready for the next one. And I found that there were a lot of kiddos who really never were ready if I allowed them to sit on the bench until they thought they were ready. So I would motivate the heck out of them. I would try to believe in them enough for both of us. And then I'd push them to roll. 9 times out of 10, that baptism by fire was exactly what they needed to, one, find the confidence that they had already within them, all the tools that they needed to succeed. They just needed to believe in themselves. So here you've got it. Or two, they learned what they didn't know that they couldn't have known until they got in this space. And now they're able to go back and actually mold into the style or the polish or the arguments or the piece or whatever it was in the world of speech and debate that they needed it to be in order to accomplish the goals that they really did want to set forth. And that translates to lots of other things in my life. I mean, I think about when we were talking about starting a family and how many people does that resonate with? Well, we're just not quite ready. When we have all of our finances perfectly squared away, maybe when our house is a little bigger, maybe when, right, you can maybe win until there's no more room to even accomplish the goals or the ideas or the dreams that you've set in front of yourself if you let it. Hear me say, there is never, ever, ever a perfect time. You are quite possibly never going to be 100% ready. But if you have a goal in your heart, if you have an idea in your brain, I'm going to challenge you today to just be 70% ready. You don't have to be 100% ready in order to go after that goal. Okay, so what does that look like? And you know what? Here's the thing. I get even thinking through, okay, what does 70% look like? I don't know, because I would like for it to be 100%. I mean, if you listen a couple episodes back, we talked about perfectionism and I was very forthcoming in all of the struggles that I have with that. There's a really hard thing to do in the world of goal setting that held me back constantly. And that was not holding myself to this perfectionism idea because that 100% was really unreachable. Matter of fact, um, I love I love the quote from Simon Sinek that says pushing yourself to be the best is unsustainable. Simply push yourself to be better than the day before. So, in your goal setting, in your I'm letting go of perfectionism, maybe think through that because perfectionism is going to hold you back every single time. So, what goals are you setting for yourself? How are you investing in you? How do you want to invest in your family? How do you want to invest in your work? And what about those scare you? What about those goals hold you back? That's where we start. That's where we start in getting a gauge of where you are actually, and not just what does 100% perfectionism look like, but where are you really? What are those goals? Thinking through what holds you back, what would help you feel a little more ready, I would say is the best next step. Now, in that space, I find myself looking towards tools or people, resources. Like if I had these people in my corner, if I had someone who could, if I had a tool that would that help me feel a little more ready? Because if the answer is yes, now the question is, how do I acquire those tools? Where do I need to find those people to be in my corner? And you know what? This is something that I just started working with a new coaching client. And that was part of her. How do I get to the next step to being a little more ready to go after my big goals? And that was hiring a coach. I wanted help navigating the next steps. That's what she decided. So now we're working through them because she doesn't want to go through them alone. So, who in your corner or what in your corner would make you feel like you're a little more ready? Maybe not 100%, but just 70% more ready. And then I think you also need to ask yourself, what obstacles are you putting in your own way? Because here we are sitting in this mindset space. What obstacles am I putting in my own way? And sometimes we tell ourselves, well, okay, let's use the example of I'm going to invest in myself and I'm going to join a new gym if that's a goal that you came up with for 2024. We're going to use that because it's one of the most common goals. Okay, so if that was your goal, yay us, we're going to walk through this. Maybe the obstacles that you're setting in your brain are I'm still a little bit uncomfortable. I'm going to lose a little more weight with nutrition and then I'll go to the gym. Or I don't know how to do the exercises. So I'm going to look for someone who can help me with that and then I'll join the gym. Maybe it's scheduling. Well, I am just busy. I'm going to wait until I'm a little less busy. It'll slow down maybe in February. Listen, friend, we are all busy. Everyone has the same 24 hours. I promise. So you're going to have to make it a priority if that's something that you want. Just like finding the person to help you or getting on that nutrition track or whatever it is, whatever obstacle it is that you've put in your brain, don't allow yourself to sit in obstacle land. Move forward through, okay, nutrition is a problem. I'm going to do this in conjunction with, yep, I'm going to recognize it's a problem. I'm going to pick this diet plan. We're going to good enough to move forward. We're going to move forward with this, but we're still going to go into the land of uncomfortable. We're going to join the gym. We're going to do the thing. Because your goals that are really big and bold and beautiful, the goals that attack the things that your heart really wants, listen, they're never going to be easy. They're never going to be, oh my gosh, why didn't I do that 10 years ago? Because you're going to spend time, effort, energy. You're going to have a little bit of pain with that growth if it's a big goal. Now, at the end, when you look back, it's kind of like labor pains. I'm sure you look back at some point and go, well, that was way easier than I was making it out to be. I was stalling all on my own for no good reason. But in the mix of it, when you're working in the heart of the hard, you might not be saying that. So here's words of wisdom. If it hurts, it's okay. That's probably growth. Because remember, growth means there was a change. Change means there's a loss. Loss is always a little bit painful, AKA growth is always going to equal pain, right? But the question of what obstacles am I putting in my own way that I need to move is a question you might need to spend a little bit of time on, because that can dramatically change the way you get out of your own way. But remember, resources, tools, just pick one and roll. Again, if you look for the perfect resource, you look for the perfect coach. You could spend a year looking for the perfect coach or the perfect nutrition plan or the perfect financial stability in order for you to decide that it's time to have kids. You will wait, and that's the obstacle that you're putting in your own way. And that's going to keep you from going after that big goal, that big dream, that next step. So being a goal getter and pushing forward through the uncomfortable has got to be where we fight forward. And what that means is what I just said. You are going to have to do it when it's uncomfortable. You're going to have to do it when you're uncertain. You're going to have to do it when it's hard, because all of those things can be true and you can still be moving forward. Because even that 1%, right? Atomic Habits, James Clear, even that 1% a day is better than nothing a day. That's got to be your goal. Just 1% better than the day before. That's how you accomplish your goals. So if you're sitting in the zone of, okay, I'm 50% ready, you're asking yourself, what are the tools that I need? What are the people? What are the resources? What would help me at least feel 70%? And then when you get to that 70%, because you found the tools, you found the nutrition plan, you found the gym, whatever it is to get to the 70%, that's when you start. Because if we wait till we are 100% ready, you are going to be waiting forever. Baptism by fire is the way to go. And I'm not saying don't do your homework. I'm not saying don't create an action plan that's going to make you successful, because I am a firm believer that writing down a goal and writing down the action plan is going to make you way more successful than if you just launch out. So I understand having a plan, but if you're anything like me, you will plan yourself to death. And everyone else around you, possibly in your industry, possibly in your age group, possibly just in your goal space, who didn't wait till it was perfect, who didn't keep pushing the can or kicking the can down the road, those people are going to be 10 steps ahead of you because you waited too long and you spent too much time trying to ready yourself. When if you'd have just gotten in there, you'd have realized you were going to have to revamp some of that plan anyway. So get in there, do the thing, take a chance. And when you're taking a chance, I get that that's scary, but I want to offer this idea. One, if you're not taking a chance and you're not jumping in, who will you become in the waiting? If you are waiting until it's 100% ready, who will you become during that time? What else could change and mold? I'm going to stick with the gym analogy because it's easy and we started there. If you wait a whole nother month, where is that month going to get you? Will you have gained an extra pound? Will your heart have gotten more frustrated because the friend you made the goal with has been in the gym for a month? Will you wish you were a little bit stronger because you could have been a whole month ahead in lifting or cardio? Or it's not about being perfectly ready for that reason. You just have to jump in, even if it's not perfect, because who you can become in the waiting zone can frustrate you and set you back even farther. One. Thought number two I want to throw into your brain is who's taking notes about your bravery. Stepping into a gym, stepping into a new workspace, stepping into a round or getting out of practice and onto the court or whatever, right? Insert your goal here. That's scary and it takes bravery and it takes being uncomfortable. What did I say? Do it when it's uncomfortable. Do it when you're uncertain. Do it when it's hard. But when you are uncomfortable, uncertain, and hard, and you're bravely stepping out anyway, let me assure you, someone else is taking notes and trying to be as brave as you. Someone else is going, if she can do that, I can too. If she can do that, maybe I can do the thing I wanted to do. And there might be people in the background going, well, that's stupid. But if we are worried about what others think, if we are people pleasers to a flaw, let me promise you this, you will never accomplish all the things that you could accomplish. You will never get those goals. You will never push for those dreams the way you will if you just do you. So in the name of you do you and not worry about what others say, move forward with the mindset of, I'm proud of myself. And if I'm inspiring others, then great. But you can't care about worrying about those who aren't strong enough to fight for their own goals and to push forward through their own uncomfortable, uncertain, and hard parts. Okay, it's short, it's sweet, but I hope that it was thought-provoking to you because I believe in the power of just pushing forward. And I'm finding in my own life in the last few years, saying yes and just pushing forward, even though I'm not 100% sure, even though I might get into the room and go, well, that was dumb. I don't really know what I'm doing. And now I'm having to just be really, really brave and believe that I can get through this because we don't fake it, right? We don't fake it till we make it. We believe it as we brave it. There have been so many times that I've held on to that because I said yes to something that I was not 100% ready for. But in looking back, every single time I said yes, I learned enough to be a stronger yes the next time and to be 1, 2, 10 steps ahead of where I would have been if I hadn't just jumped in and gone after that goal. So here are your 3 takeaways from today. 1, don't put obstacles in your own way. Get rid of the excuses. Get rid of the busyness, find the resources, dig into the people, but let it be good enough to move on and move forward. Don't let your own head, heart, and excuses get in the way. Takeaway number 2, reframe your mindset. You do not need to be 100% ready. You just need to be 70% ready. That's it. So when you're asking yourself, how do I get ready for this big goal that I have? You're not needing to get 100% ready because that learning 30% is just a part of being in the midst of learning. And be okay with that because that might be where the best growth is made. You don't need to be 100%. You only need to be 70% ready to say yes and move forward. So if you are not 70%, remember back to 1, you're asking yourself, what are the resources, the tools, the people that I need to just get 70% ready? Takeaway number 3 is acknowledge how you feel. I don't want you to hear me say, pretend you're not scared. Acknowledge you're scared. Acknowledge that this is uncomfortable. Acknowledge that you're not sure how to do this or if it's exactly what you should be doing. But if your heart feels 70% ready and you've set those goals, then acknowledge this is going to be hard, but I'm proud of myself because I'm moving forward anyway. I don't know what I'm doing, but I know this is the route that I need to be on, so I'm going to push forward anyway. Acknowledge how you feel and where you're at, but be brave enough and strong enough to step forward anyway. Step forward into the uncomfortable and the uncertain, because the beauty that lies on the other side of going after the goals that you have set for yourself, I promise will pay off. And in the learning, don't apologize. Don't apologize for that 30% growth that you're having to make. Or maybe you jumped in, you thought you were 70% ready and you really weren't. And now it's just fallen off the rails and it doesn't look great, but you're still moving forward. Great. Don't apologize. Don't apologize for the learning that you're having to do. And don't be afraid to be seen trying. I know that's like more than 3 takeaways. I just remembered it, had to say it. Okay, so the challenge that I am leaving you with today is to look at big picture and goals you've set, your life, what it is you want to attack this year that you have not already started going after. What is it? Maybe it's in your workspace. Maybe it's in your home place. Maybe it's just personal and you. An investment in yourself that you want to make. What is the big goal? And how are you going to focus on it? By the end of this week, I know I've never given you here, you need to do this by this day. So whenever you're listening to this, give yourself 1 week exactly and make yourself have a path moving forward. Because again, if you're anything like me, if you don't give yourself a deadline, you'll sit in it. So give yourself 1 week to do the thing, to have accomplished the next step, to be at least closer to 70% if you are not already 70% and rolling forward. Find the goal, find the obstacles, find the fix, move forward. I know you can do it. It's part of being a goal getter. It's part of pushing forward, and that's just part of life. All right, your quote for the day to help motivate you is from George Bernard Shaw, and it is, "Don't wait for the right opportunity. Create it." All right, I hope you have a great week creating your next steps. Hey, thanks for listening and being my people. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, hook me up with a 5-star review. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to the People Priority Podcast so you don't miss out on more tips, tricks, and important reminders. I'll see you next week.